I'm Joshua Adams, and this is the Industry Insights Podcast, where I am joined in the Rock Paper Simple studio by community leaders as we dive into industry topics and perspectives. Thanks for joining us today. I have Dr. John Nicklow, president of Florida Tech, with me today. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
So would you mind just sharing a little bit about your background? I know you've recently joined the college over there. So if you could share just a little bit about your background and what you're doing.
Sure. I'm coming from the University of New Orleans, where I was president there. I'm originally from Pennsylvania, near Pittsburgh.
Go Steelers.
Yeah, go Steelers. That's right. And I've been in higher ed for about 25 years as a faculty member or administrator. I'm a civil engineer by profession. Started my career as a commissioned officer with the U.S. Public Health Service.
Awesome. Well, let's jump right in with kind of what's new at Florida Tech.
I think we got a lot of great things happening. In terms of facilities, we have a new $18 million Gordon Nelson Health Sciences building. Houses our biomedicine and biomedical engineering programs, allows our students to do incredibly innovative, basic and applied research. You really get hands-on experience. It's a 61,000 square foot building, very modern, a lot of great research and teaching going on in that building. Along with that, we have next fall, we are opening, or our partners are opening, the Burrell College of Medicine. So we'll have a medical school located on our campus, and that'll be opening next fall.
Awesome. The biomedical side sounds incredibly innovative. Why did we go in that direction?
I just, the high demand field, and the things happening there around Alzheimer's research, brain research. I'm a civil engineer, so some of it's beyond me, but it's really incredible cutting edge research happening. And the students, earlier this week, I visited for a Halloween party, and they all made cakes and decorated them like body parts, anatomical body parts, and some of them were fish vertebrae. It was very interesting to see all that they were doing and having fun.
That's either really impressive or absolutely terrifying. I haven't decided which one yet. I'm still processing that. But no, I love that, because I do think there is a little bit of a narrow assumption of, okay, tech, there's a very specific element there, but you guys are very innovative over there, looking at what's the next, maybe the next generation of in-demand degrees, it seems like. So really love that angle, that direction. And I think there's something there really that expands beyond what the general expectations would be.
Yeah. And when we say technology or STEM, as Florida's STEM institution, it really does cross a broad range of fields: aerospace engineering, of course, civil engineering, mechanical engineering, but all the sciences, biomedicine, cyber, psychology, business tech. There's just so much that it covers. Aviation is another great field. So we're doing a lot of truly the diversity of fields and people at Florida Tech is just awe-inspiring. And we like to focus on tech-driven programs, high-demand programs.
Now, I've heard recently that you guys have been award-winning on the cyber side of things. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
So we're, let me think, 2-time national champions.
That's what I heard.
In what's called FitSec, our Florida Tech security team. This is a student team, and I believe they're off to Greece or competing internationally now. So just an incredible team, award-winning. And these students, they can't tell me what they work on. A lot of them have jobs already, and they can't tell. Obviously, it's classified and some things, but just they all have multiple offers. They're getting jobs well before they graduate. Like I said, high demand field.
Very cool. So the Space Coast, very rooted in science and engineering here for obvious reasons. What is Florida Tech doing to prepare students hands-on for future careers?
First off, I think STEM, obviously in our DNA, right? We were founded as a technology-driven school 65 years ago, same year NASA was founded. So we are ingrained in
good company.
Very much so. And we think about how we give students hands-on experience. The best example of that I could give you is the Northrop Grumman Engineering and Science Student Design Showcase. All those students do a senior capstone design where it takes all that you've learned over your years and you develop a new project or an innovative design. And it's just amazing to see. We offered in the Clemente Center hundreds of projects. We bring in other students, faculty, staff. We bring in industry leaders, local leaders to judge and take a look at these. And I've seen some of the projects. You're seeing some really cutting edge, innovative designs that are going to lead to something else. I don't know if it's a patent or a business, but really amazing things.
I love the hands-on approach, right? And something that I feel sometimes is lacking from some programs is this idea of practical application.
I would agree with that. I think students learn more when they have the hands-on experience. And I hear that. In my last 3 months, I've visited so many industry leaders, businesses, and I'm often asking, how can we improve? But what do you like about our students? How are we different? What makes us unique? And what I hear a lot of great things. But one is your students are ready to go to work. They have that hands-on experience. We can trust them to do some things that maybe other graduates haven't. They just don't have that skill yet. So they're in high demand.
Right. No, and I see that. And I think especially something that I experienced when I was first going to college. Now, I got started in my field in my teen years, right? So I was doing it while I was still in school, and I was programming and I was coding, I was building websites. And so when I went to school, I was a little frustrated because I had already done the hands-on and the program I was going through, not with you guys, obviously, because it would have been hands-on, but there was nothing hands-on, right? It was all book work, and frankly, most of the book work was outdated. And so it was a frustrating experience for me. So I love to hear the hands-on stuff because so many times I think we miss that piece of it, right? And so I think that's something that's special, and I think it's something that actually creates a workforce that is more relevant and more work ready.
And I think it helps the student succeed at a higher rate when they can really get involved and touch and feel what they're doing, or be it just. It's not just the theory. You're not just hearing it; you're doing it. I think you develop a passion. You really start to learn. Okay, I really love what I'm doing. I love to do this, and I can see myself in this career.
Right. And I think because it becomes less theory, right? It becomes hands-on, it becomes real. I've created something, I've developed something, and they can see the future in that. And I think a lot of times education is often about the possibilities, right? Where can you go with this? And I think especially in the fields and STEM especially, what is possible? Where can we take humanity? Where can we take technology? Where can we go with this? It starts to become a reality when they get hands-on. So tell me about this new Mertens Marine Center.
Well, they say what they say about real estate. It's all about location, 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 right? This is an amazing facility, the Mertens Marine Science Center, that sits in Melbourne Harbor, right on the river. And it's a fantastic facility. The faculty and students are conducting research there. Students in classes can go there and really they go out on the river. And as part of their class, and they learn techniques, and they do labs off some of the boats. It's just an amazing facility that supports, in part, the health of the Indian River Lagoon. A lot of the research they're doing there is work around helping clean our lagoon and maintain its health.
I love that. More hands-on. So I'm seeing a theme here in a lot of what you guys are doing, creating hands-on experiences that are relevant. And in this case, not only are you creating a hands-on experience for students that's relevant to the space or industry they might be working in, but you're actually doing something that is relevant to our community and could be helping our community and looking at how we're saving our lagoon and how we're kind of revitalizing that.
That's right. And they're also doing coastal research and marine biology, and then we have a shark lab and some really cool stuff around all those fields, oceanography, marine biology, and so on. But you're right. The lagoon is vital to our community and to our region, and to the entire Space Coast. So, thinking about ways we can maintain its health and improve the water quality is going to be vital for our future.
Well, and I think that's one of the few issues I think a lot of us can agree on here in terms of that is vital for all of us, right? It ties to so many different parts of the industries that are vital for this area, for Brevard County. for the Space Coast, whether that is affecting tourism, and frankly, even my industry, marketing, right? And if the area is not thriving, if we're not attracting people, either through tourism or wanting to live here because our natural resource is dwindling here, that affects all of us. That affects both the community in terms of leisure activities, but also the business side of things, the economic side of things. There's so much research that's gone into how are we impacted as a county, as a community by the lagoon. So I think there's an element of that is important. And you guys are actually not just creating experiences that are important for students for their career field, but again, for our county.
Yeah, absolutely. And students are, again, they get involved at the Merton Center in the program. They're out on the river. And you just see this passion light up, that I'm doing what I love. I'm also maintaining the health of this river for my community. But I couldn't agree more. It is a keystone of this region. And without the health of that river, and without our focus in the future of its sustainability, it impacts business, leisure, tourism. Every aspect of our life is impacted. So I've only been here 3 months, but certainly I see it's one of the common themes that everybody can rally around is maintaining that health, the health of that river.
So obviously a center like this, relatively innovative, very cool, creates a lot of opportunities for the students, for the community. How does something like that come about, right? How does it decide, hey, we're gonna build this marine center, on the river, and do all these programs? How does that come about?
Well, I think it comes about, one, from a need, right? Second, high demand. It's just those programs, oceanography, marine science are high demand fields. The students are getting jobs, a lot of work and research to be done. And then typically a nice gift from a donor.
So at Florida Tech, what are you guys doing to ensure a healthy, relevant workforce pipeline?
So I think a couple things. One is Florida Tech's incredibly nimble in terms of how we can adjust curriculum. And we do that by understanding what industry wants, what our businesses want. So a couple things. We have our advisory boards. So industry professionals serve on advisory boards for each of our colleges. They talk about, okay, where are we, how's the industry evolving? What do we need more of? How should we then adjust the curriculum? I'd also say we do a really great job of taking education and need-to-know skills to employers or employees where they are. So, for example, we have wonderful relationships over the years. We've had great relationships with Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin, L3 Harris, GE, where we're taking education to their employees, sometimes on site, sometimes online, sometimes having them on campus. And so we're hearing directly from the employer and employees of what they need and serving them.
So you're listening well, it sounds like. You start with listening well. From there, what's the process, right? So you say, okay, I have an advisory council. I've heard from them. I've gone to the community. I've heard from them. How does that translate into actions, to decisions, maybe even pivots?
So it means coming back to the college in engineering, science, psychology, business, and saying, okay, this is what we've heard. How do we adjust our curriculum? Maybe we need more hands-on work in this area, and maybe we need to remove this course and de-emphasize and put more emphasis in another area. And like I said, it's not all educational institutions are quite as nimble, and I'm proud of that at Florida Tech.
Yeah, yeah. And so ultimately the goal there is to create a workforce, a fresh workforce, if you will, that's coming out prepared to work, prepared to actually begin executing, it has the relevant expertise, the relevant experiences, in this case, a lot of hands-on. I'm seeing a trend here, a lot of hands-on experience, and I'm guessing that was a lot of the feedback you were getting.
Yes, and resoundingly. I mean, some of the places I visited, I went to Blue Origin my first month, and as I hopped out of the car and we went over to the launch area, there are two fresh graduates. I mean, within the last year anyway, but young people, a young man and a young woman that were in the belly of the industry, doing some incredible things, entrusted to do them, great skill sets, and to see them come out of school with those skills. Like I said, high demand. They're truly in high demand. Our students are getting multiple job offers. As I've gotten to know many of them and tour our campus and the programs, one of the themes I keep coming back to, I'll go home at night and say, Stacy, I want to go back to school. It's just so exciting to see what they're doing. And like I said, they're getting great careers, multiple job offers.
Speaking of reaching out and engaging with the community, engaging with businesses, hearing from them, what are some of the collaboration opportunities with Florida Tech that businesses, organizations, the community, municipalities might have?
Yeah, partnerships is really what you're referring to. And partnerships come in all forms, but I'm looking for partners. We have some great partners, but I'm looking to expand that portfolio of partnerships. What do those partnerships and collaborations look like? They can involve internships for our students, certainly. Many of our students get internships, sometimes on their own, but oftentimes we have hundreds that go through our Career Center and get internships. If you're a business out there and you need somebody to work on something or an idea that you have and you want somebody to tinker and find a solution, come talk to us. We can either do it at the institution or maybe you hire an intern. I think it is also an opportunity for research collaborations, both faculty and students. If you have a problem that you need help solving, come talk to us because our students are doing undergraduate senior design projects where they undertake some of these things, but also master's theses, doctoral dissertations. This is what we do, right? Research. And lastly, I think the talent pipeline, right? Let us know what students you need. Let us know what labor demand you have. Let us help you solve that. And then we want to hear from you about what skills your students need, and give us feedback on those hires so that if we need to evolve our curriculum to be better, we can do that.
So I love that. Now you say, if you have this challenge or you're trying to figure this out, come talk to us. What does that mean, right? When somebody says, come talk to us, I imagine driving down in front of the campus and going, who do I talk to, right? So what does that look like? What does that communication channel look like in terms of engaging with Florida Tech?
So I'm going to make it super simple because I know exactly what you're talking about. A lot of people see the institution or any university as the ivory tower, right, and I don't know how to communicate. My email is president@fit.edu. I'll be your point of contact.
Wow.
Okay, or at least the initial point of contact. Reach out to me. Send me a note. I have an open door policy. That translates to an open email policy. So send us what your needs are, what you're interested in. I'll find the right way. If it's career services, if it's something in engineering or science or psychology, business, aviation, let me know, and I'll connect you. Make it easy.
I love that. You were telling a story at an event recently about you saying, hey, I've got this open door policy, and you've had people just test it just to see.
I really, really have. There was one day a student came in and I need to see the president. And typically that's either really good or really bad, right? Something's up. The student came into my office and sat down at my table, and I sat down, and he just kind of looked at me and nodded. I said, how are things going? Great. Is something wrong? No. Everything's great. How are your classes? They're good, and told me a little bit about classes. I said, let me ask you, why are you here? I just wanted to test your open door policy.
I love that so much. And good for you, right? And I think a lot of people do say, hey, open door. What does that mean, though? Are you really accessible? So I love that. I think that's good for our community. I think we're a community where that works, I think. And it also shows, hey, we genuinely want to hear from the community. We want to connect with it. We want to be meaningful. The word relevant comes to mind. The word meaningful collaboration, mm-hmm. Those words kind of come to mind there. And I think all of those things are very intentional is kind of what I'm feeling.
Very intentional. Like I said, our partnerships are vital. Any progress we make has to involve meaningful, mutually beneficial partnerships. And so if you're out there, come talk to us. I am so interested in more partners.
And Florida Tech genuinely cares about our community. And it's very clear with the way you guys engage, the way you sponsor local events, the way you guys are present, right? It's not like you mentioned, the ivory tower over, it's not that, right? I do see that. I'm very involved in the community. We see you guys everywhere. I have a lot of colleagues that I've been on boards together from FIT. So it's very clear that Florida Tech supports the Space Coast and Brevard County. Let's flip it, right? So how can the business community, especially in Brevard County on the Space Coast, support the school?
So get involved with the school, whether that's advisory boards or guest lecturing. Let us know if you're interested. We'll find a place for you to participate. Also feedback. When you hire our students, let us know Do you have enough employees? Do you need more? And like I said, if you let us know about their skill set, that helps us maintain a current and relevant curriculum. We know we're not teaching engineering the same way we taught it 30 years ago, right? And part of the reason we know that is, one, the challenges are different out there, and so that requires more complex solutions. But it's also because business and industry has provided the feedback of what they want in their employees, and we're able to adjust.
I love that. So you mentioned something there that caught my attention, the guest lecturing. I've done this. I've done it at FIT. I've done it at several schools, but I've done it quite a few times over there. I've spoken at marketing classes over there and entrepreneurship classes. I love that. So I highly encourage reaching out, giving that a try. Not only was it a blast, but the students were so interested. Because again, coming that hands-on, right? You talk about that theme. I was able to go in there and say, this is what it's like. This is what it's like in the industry, doing these things, shared some of my challenges, shared some of the wins. That was really rewarding. And the cool part about that is I've had some of those students years later be sitting across from me at a table at an event or sitting across from the deal table. We'll have a conversation. We had one, we sold a project to a client. We walk out, and as the client walked away, the new marketing person turned around and said, do you remember me? No idea. She goes, I was in a marketing class you came and spoke to 3 years ago, right? And she remembered me coming in 3 years prior. She had graduated, had a great job, and had asked if I remembered her. Not too far later, I was at a networking event, a chamber event, and we're sitting there, and we had half the table. PNC Bank had the other half. We're sitting there talking, and an executive from across the table goes, do you remember me? I'm like, no, I don't, And she goes, I was in one of those marketing classes that you came and guessed. It was just a really cool experience. Years later, these people remember this, right? These students remember this. So I think not only is it a great opportunity to get out there and engage, it's very rewarding. It's very, very rewarding in terms of seeing, hey, I obviously made some sort of impact. If 3 years later, this person remembers me.
Oh, it's incredibly rewarding to the person giving the guest lecture, no doubt. But the impact on the students is lasting. They're hearing directly from professionals in their field. And don't forget that last piece. Whereas, if you're recruiting employees, it's not a bad idea to get in front of them in a class, and they learn more about your business, your industry. It's great for the business's visibility.
Yeah, I think it is often forgotten that branding and positioning for hiring is just as important as a typical business sales and marketing strategy, right? And building that pipeline early, you have the opportunity right there in front of them. Hey, come get guest lecture, come engage with our students. That can be really powerful for that talent pipeline as well.
I couldn't agree more.
So we've covered a lot of what has recently been accomplished, how you engage in the community, your community involvement, all of those things. But let's talk a little bit about what you're excited for in the future.
Well, I'm tremendously excited about our future, and I'm just so impressed by our people at Florida Tech. They're just hardworking, mission-focused, dedicated. And I think because of them, there's a lot of excitement in our future. I'm excited about our future partnerships, the things we're going to do with business and industry and other educational institutions, and including our alumni, and looking for them to be proud and support their institution as we go forward. Excited about the evolution of our programs. The diversity of our students and our programs on campus is just absolutely awe-inspiring. It's amazing. That I find that tremendously excited. Specifically, I'm also excited about our new strategic plan and visioning process that we're undertaking right now. Within a month or so, you're going to see a new strategic plan and vision for Florida Tech that hopefully sets a path to what we think we can be in the future and the specific steps that we are taking to get there. What I would say is keep an eye on this amazing institution. I think you're going to see some great outcomes, and just keep an eye on the things happening at Florida Tech.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming, hanging out with me a little bit, sharing kind of what you're doing, what Florida Tech is doing in the community. It's really fun to kind of look back and look at the legacy that you guys have created, but also the one you're creating.
Thank you, Joshua. This has been wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of Industry Insights. If you enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe, comment, or even drop us a line over at rockpapersimple.com.